Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm OB Aidan.
I'm Gaynor.
And today we have the top 10 worst US cities that are making a comeback. Oh.
I wonder what's making a comeback.
I wouldn't know.
No.
Well, we're just going to find out.
US...
I don't know what... What?
Maybe the top 10 worst US cities.
Yeah, maybe they are. I don't know what they are though, but we'll find out. I'm making a comeback as well. Let's go.
Everybody loves a comeback story. It's a staple of American film and literature. Comeback stories are also underdog stories most of the time, and that's also something everyone loves. Rocky, Slumdog Millionaire, The Karate Kid, and Remember the Titans, to name a few. I'm sure there's a couple thousand we could all sit down and discuss. Everyone's got their favorite. 90% of the time, these stories are sports stories. Some of them are so good, you'll be cheering in the theater. But it's not always sports. Sometimes average Joes, groups of people, or places have their own underdog story or their own comeback story. Today we're looking at US cities that are in the middle of a comeback or are on the verge of one. This video for the most part is opinion based on economic trends and promising situations that are going on in these cities as we speak. As always, this isn't a speech, it's a discussion. I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section below. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Indianapolis, Indiana. Indianapolis has been in bad shape for quite some time. It's sort of under the radar. You always hear about other bad Midwest cities and their level of suckage like Detroit, Chicago, and St. Louis. But Indianapolis, they've been pretty bad for a while. But these days, Indianapolis is on the rise, thanks in part to a booming sports scene and a rapidly growing tech sector. You know, a lot of the companies there, I'm kind of looking over it, they seem...
I was going to say, a lot of places, when you open a major corporation there, that forces people to move there for jobs, which forces the economy up. Yeah.
To be in the biotech, healthcare tech side of things, like a company called Early is Good, which is a great name for a company. You know, it's really funny. I find it very interesting when I read about new companies like that. I always like to see what's out there, what's on the horizon. That's a good Google rabbit hole to get sucked down. Keep you busy for hours. But Indianapolis has become a hot spot for both startups and big business. And a lot of that has to do with having a very business-friendly climate, and it's very affordable. A lot of companies that have left San Francisco over the last decade or so, one of the main reasons is not the homeless and not all that stuff. That does play a part, but it's the affordability for its workers. If your employees can't find a place to rent for under $3,000, you end up paying them more so they can afford to live in the city where they work. You don't have to, but then you don't have employees. And it's not just about affordability, cost of living, all that stuff. Indy's also becoming one of those places that attracts a lot of creative types, and this brings in entrepreneurs, which means more jobs, better paying jobs. One of the biggest problems in Indianapolis is the crime rate. It right now is 89% above the national average. 2 years ago, it was 167% above the national average.
It's on the rise then.
As that goes down, more companies will move in, more employees, better jobs. It's like a food chain. If I were taking bets, I would give Indy a 1 in 12 chance of a major rebound over the next 10 years.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
Number 9, St. Louis, Missouri. I just mentioned this in another video recently that I think the importance of St. Louis to the history of this country and to its growth is often overlooked. People always talk about the Civil War.
I've usually heard this as being quite a rough place.
Really? I think it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
They talk about the Revolutionary War, but the movement west was incredibly important to this country, and most of the people that went west went through St. Louis. If the United States was a football game, St. Louis was that door where all the players run out onto the field. Now, I think St. Louis is about to have a rebound or a revival, whatever you want to call it, because it's got to the point where things are extremely cheap there. You're already starting to see some of the neighborhoods in downtown really make a change. I did a video not too long ago where a guy told me all the great things going on, and he thought this video I did like 4 years ago was wrong and I should take it down because it really didn't paint St. Louis in a good light. Well, St. Louis has sucked for quite some time, and I tried to explain that to him. He called me a few names and I didn't pay attention. I just, continued to, go back and forth with him via email. And it got to the point where I told him he was an idiot. And he got all high and mighty on me. You're not going to talk to me that way. I was like, too late. He started going on and on about my lack of professionalism. He was going to report me to the FCC. I told him I was going to make a smoothie, but I think bananas are out of season. I also told him the FCC has nothing to do with me putting up videos. He asked who gave me my license. I don't have a license from the FCC to put up videos. He's all, are you crazy? I'm all, maybe a little bananas. He goes, why do you keep trying to insert bananas? I was all, insert bananas, LOL. And he never contacted me again. But I honestly think after a very long stretch of St. Louis being in bad shape, they're on the rebound right now as we speak. And a lot of it has to do with biotech companies and health services moving in to St. Louis, or at least moving their headquarters there. This is already starting to show that they have better paying jobs popping up in the St. Louis metro area. Crime has gone down a little, but I think as more people make more money and more people have jobs, we'll start to see that go down a lot. Now, if they could just blow up the bridge between them and East St. Louis, they'd be in a lot better shape. If I was taking bets, I would give St. Louis a 1 in 10 chance of having a major rebound or turnaround within the next decade.
There's going to be a lot of people in St. Louis that are really annoyed at that comment.
What comment?
It's 1 in 10 chance of it being like, if you live there, you're very kind of passionate about it and, and love it. And
I was going to say Cincinnati at the start as well, not because I knew it was going to make a rebound, but just because I've heard it's a bit of a not a nice place.
Yeah, I don't really know any areas that are like, you know, like he's saying.
Maybe I think what you said before, I think Detroit might be on it or something like that.
Well, I've been to Baltimore, and we went to Baltimore because we thought, oh, I've not been there before, and people went, you went to Baltimore? It's a shithole.
Oh.
But where we were was fine, but we went 2 blocks back, and it was really bad. But
can be like that anywhere though.
That's what I'm saying. Anywhere, you know, you can go 2 blocks one way and it's shithole, and 2 blocks another way and it's great.
Number 8, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Ohio is, a very interesting place. It sits right across the Ohio River from Kentucky, and it has one of my favorite river walks in the country. I mean, you got Bengals Stadium right there, which is called Paycor Stadium or something like that right now. And then you have Great American Ballpark where the Reds play. And you can look right across the Ohio River and see like a bunch of cousins out on dates. I'm sorry, that was unfair. Second cousins on dates. I mean, obviously, this is not Arkansas. But Cincinnati's rebound isn't going as far as some of the other ones. I mean, they haven't been in that bad of a shape over the years. They do have some pretty sketchy neighborhoods, just like every major city, but I think they're on the verge of becoming one of the better cities in the country that everybody knows and everybody's moving to, that type of thing. Cincinnati's revival is bolstered by its strategic location and a very diverse economy. That includes manufacturing, finance, and also an emerging tech scene. The city has successfully renovated its Over the Rhine district, which is just north of like the downtown area. I have some footage that I took from across the river with a drone years back. I was on the Kentucky side when I filmed it, but I was trying to get a good shot of Paycor Stadium. I don't know how many comments I get in that video about, you're not in Ohio, you're in Kentucky right now. Cincinnati also has one of my favorite Italian food restaurants, Scotty's. Oh, it's amazing. It's been there forever. I actually got groped by an older woman when I was there one time. I was leaving, and someone grabbed my butt, and I turned around, it was an older lady. I was only in my mid-20s, I think. I say older, but she was probably maybe 40. So yeah, where I sit now on the age scale, she was pretty young. But Cincinnati's doing some really good things. They're attracting a lot of new companies in. Again, bringing in great jobs, better paying jobs. If I was taking bets, like St. Louis, I would give Cincinnati a 1 in 10 chance of having a major rebound in the next decade. Number 7, Chattanooga, Tennessee. We did a video about 2 years ago about Chattanooga, and I still believe what I said then, that this city is a city that's turning things around. I mean, they've been in the middle of turning it around for a couple of years. They have some crime issues, and they also have some poverty issues, but those are all getting better. They haven't wiped out crime completely, and poverty is still there, but it's getting better. And I think that's going to continue to happen for at least the next handful of years. Now, what's amazing is a few years back, they ended up having the fastest internet in the Western Hemisphere.
What I've noticed is
God lived there just for that.
Yeah, but what I've noticed is that all the places have got nice blue skies.
Yeah.
If you're waking up every morning to nice blue skies, you can't be going too wrong.
Yeah, well, that's what it's like in Manchester.
Yeah.
You'd expect something like San Francisco to have that, New York, Los Angeles. No, Chattanooga was killing it with internet speeds. They did this for a reason. They wanted to get more remote workers to move to Chattanooga, and it worked. Chattanooga is also a great place for people that like to be outdoors, which for millennials and Gen Z, that's very important. If you want to attract people in, make sure you have hiking trails, mountain biking trails, and an indoor rock climbing facility. And no pickleball court. That just draws in the wrong element, in my opinion. Just get a bunch of 30-somethings moving in named Brad and Ainsley. They call themselves athletes. They play pickleball. If I was taking bets, I would give Cincinnati, Ohio, a 1 in 9 chance of a major rebound or continue their rebound over the next decade.
Buffalo.
Oh, what's wrong with Buffalo?
Yeah.
Number 6, Buffalo, New York. Now this one's a little strange because their crime rate is still pretty high. It's gotten a little bit better over the last couple of years, but it's still really high. The good news is it's been such a crappy place to live over the last few decades that the prices have gone down on everything from housing to milk to anything. This has kind of reversed their fortune. People are now giving Buffalo a chance again. But these days, Buffalo is experiencing an economic revival thanks to significant investment like the Buffalo Billion Initiative. This is a thing that was set up by the old Governor Cuomo, and they're investing $1 billion in the Buffalo area to try and attract businesses and people with investments in like solar energy production, and the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. A lot of the focus is a revitalization of the waterfront and downtown areas. If I was taking bets, I would give Buffalo, New York a 1 in 9 chance of a major rebound within the next decade.
The only thing I found when I went to Buffalo was there was no nice hotels. They were all like really low-end hotels.
Have you been?
Yeah. I've been on the Buffalo Niagara side. I've been to Niagara Falls.
Oh yeah.
So I've been on the Canadian side.
Yeah.
But I've been on the Buffalo side as well.
That's cool.
And we were looking for a hotel.
Was it cold at the time? Like, was it snowy? Because I don't think I could live in a place where it gets that cold in the winter.
No, it was during the summer.
Yeah. Oh,
so
that's alright then.
Yeah.
Number 5, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City. A lot like Cincinnati, they weren't as bad as a lot of the other ones on this list. So when their revival comes around, their rebound, it's not going to be as drastic, but it's still going to be significant to the city. And in Pittsburgh's case, it's been going on about 3 or 4 years already, maybe a little bit more. Pittsburgh's transformation from a steel-centric economy to a modern tech and healthcare powerhouse exemplifies successful urban economic rebirth. A lot of that is anchored by the universities they have there. Carnegie Mellon University, the University of Pittsburgh. These universities have kind of created this innovation scene in Pittsburgh, like in robotics and artificial intelligence, along with biotechnology. This shift, supported by strategic public and private partnership, has attracted both domestic and international investment in Pittsburgh. This has been stabilizing the city's economy for a few years now. The best part about it, Pittsburgh is still relatively inexpensive when you compare it to other cities. If I were taking bets, I would give Pittsburgh a 1 in 8 chance of having a major rebound over the next decade, or at least continue the rebound they have going on right now.
Might put a tenner on that one.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Number 4, Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio, unlike Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, they were so far in the hole, any improvement would look like a rebirth. Hell, you have someone go down to the local park and start emptying the trash cans, people might start yelling revival. In recent years, Cleveland has shifted its economic base from traditional manufacturing to more sustainable sectors such as healthcare and, again, biotechnology. The Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals have become cornerstone institutions, driving economic growth and employment. During this whole time, it's been revitalizing the downtown area, and that's where it's got to start, the downtown areas, and just kind of spread out. Like an explosion of prosperity and hope. Now, they do have a long way to go, very long way to go. Remember, this video isn't about cities that are doing great right now. It's about cities that have some struggles that are starting to show some improvement, so their future is looking better. And I truly believe Cleveland is getting ready to have like a rebirth. It's gotten so inexpensive, it's becoming an option again for a lot of people. I I mean, if you live in a dangerous neighborhood, you want to leave because it's dangerous. But if it's so inexpensive to live there, you're willing to put up with a little danger and a little poverty and a little trash on the sidewalk. Some people aren't, and that's fine. But when it gets to a certain point, there's a balancing act. Once it gets to a certain level of affordability, people start seeing it as an option. Sort of like when you hit a dry spell in the dating scene. You start lowering your standards. If I were taking bets, I would give Cleveland a 1 in 7 chance of a major rebound in the next decade.
I would never have thought it was like that.
Memphis.
Tennessee.
Number 3, Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, yeah.
I heard this is bad for crime as well.
I've heard that. We were going to go, weren't we? And it kind of put me off a bit because...
Were we?
Yeah, when we went to Nashville, we were going to go to Memphis as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's Memphis, one of the most dangerous cities we have. So
I'm sure you would have been fine, Gaynor.
I'm sure it would have been fine. But
for them to have a rebound, it's their only option. They can't get much worse. This is a great city to visit. Just stay in the downtown area. I mean, hopefully that will change. And I'm sure it will, because when your crime rate and your murder rate gets to a certain level and there's just so much focus on it, there's nothing they can do but fix it. And I think that's where Memphis sits today. And right now, it's having some changes. They've always been a major logistics hub due to its central location and extensive transportation infrastructure, including FedEx Global headquarters. Memphis is strengthening its position in distribution and warehousing. They think that's their future, and chances are it's going to work out for them. They've been revitalizing the downtown and their waterfront areas. It's like one of the first things. If you've got a waterfront, you got to revitalize it. As the crime rate goes down with new jobs, the tourists will come back to Memphis. They still get plenty, but it'll become more of a thing. Beale Street is a big draw, especially for people that love the history of music. If I were taking bets, I would give Memphis a 1 in 7 chance of a major rebound in the next decade. Feel about the same with them in Cleveland. They've gotten to a certain point where there's nothing but going up. Number 2, Reno, Nevada. Reno, Nevada has hit a rough patch over the last few decades, but things have been changing over the last 3 or 4 years, my opinion. Probably a little bit longer, but I'd say 3 or 4 years when we started seeing a difference. For a long time, the standard joke about Reno was, Reno, Nevada is so close to hell you could see sparks. Sparks is the name of one of Reno's suburbs. Myself, I like the whole Reno area. You're not in the middle of the desert like Las Vegas. Kind of up there in the Sierra Nevadas. You've got Truckee not too far away, which is an amazing small town. You got Lake Tahoe right there. You can also go over and see where the Donner Party started eating people. Yeah, you don't know the story about the Donner Party. They got stuck in the Sierra Nevadas, not too far from the Truckee, Reno area. This is in the 1800s, so long before Amazon or anything like that could deliver you food. They ran out of food. They started eating their dead. But Reno right now is in the middle of a little bit of a rebound themselves. They're sort of changing from a casino-based economy to technology and logistics, with companies like Tesla and Google setting up operations in the area, which, with those two companies, it rarely ends up being a bad thing. If I was taking bets on Reno, Nevada, I would give them a 1 in 5 chance of a major rebound in the next decade.
I wonder how far from Vegas
Not heard
All right, before we get to number 1, if you're thinking about moving to any one of these cities or any place in the United States, there is a link for home and money in the description area.
Should we have a guess? I mean, it's a bit of a...
Baltimore?
It's a bit out there to have a guess about this, but is that what your answer is?
Yeah.
I might just say Philadelphia or something, even though it's probably not even that bad.
Area below, they can get you in touch with a real estate agent anywhere in the country. All right, on to number 1.
Oh, I said that
Detroit,
before as
yeah.
well. Should have said that.
Yeah.
And number 1, Detroit. Yes, we have spent a lot of time over the years talking about how Detroit is and how Detroit will never be good again. I've been proven wrong. Their downtown is getting so much better. Now, I brought that up a long time ago, but I thought it would be short-lived and they really wouldn't expand past downtown. They're starting to show some promise in a lot of different areas. On top of that, some manufacturing companies are coming back to Detroit, or at least a lot are planning on it. As we have problems with other countries where a lot of our manufacturing has gone, a lot of the companies are bringing back some of the manufacturing. That's happened here in the Portland area. Nike had some problems, so they brought a lot of their manufacturing, especially their high-end stuff, back to Oregon. Now, a lot of the manufacturing that used to be in the Detroit area might be coming back to Detroit in, bits and pieces. I mean, it's not going to spring up to its old glory of the 1940s and 50s next year, but there's improvement. More jobs are coming around, and if they just tackle their crime, I think Detroit would be in a lot better shape. Detroit is a perfect example of what we talked about earlier. The lower cost of living and lower cost for housing is making it a good option for a lot of people these days. And they do have a serious chance of popping up as a tech hub here in the future. I mean, they already got a little bit of one, but I think that has a lot to do with their future. If I was taking bets on Detroit, Michigan, I would give them a 1 in 4 chance of a major rebound within the next 10 years.
So, I agree with that.
Do you?
Because there was a place in Liverpool that was really run down. Nobody wanted to live there. It was just like, drug dealers on the streets. And they took one of the streets, and all the houses were like that. They were all like run down.
Yeah.
And they sold them off for £1 per house to people, as long as they did their house up. And it regenerated it. Loads of people live there now.
Really?
Yeah. But everybody could buy a house for £1 and then do it up, just to try and get the neighbourhood feel back again.
That's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I knew what I was expecting on any of them, to be honest with you.
No, and that's the thing. We don't live there, so we don't know what to
Yeah.
expect. And if you live there, you're gonna, be like, well, no, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, it's horrible. But when I go back there, I think, well, it's not that bad.
Mm.
But then you speak to somebody and they go, oh no, that's it's a horrible area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for us, please, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.